Welcome back to our listeners and viewers for On Top the Cage. This is week 3, where my friend Dan and I predict the games against the spread, banter about what's going on in the National Football League, and hopefully provide you some great advice and some winners. We got a little extra decor on our set, our budget set. It is the beginning of fall. I think fall started 2 days ago.
It's a whole $150 we got here in budget.
Hey, we're a startup, baby. Did you go out and you buy any of your stuff yet? Your mums and your pumpkins?
Got a couple mums, that's it.
Yeah.
No pumpkins yet.
I think we're going to try to make it happen this weekend. All right, we got a lot to get to in the National Football League. A ton of things happened. Let's start with last week's results. Our podcast is very transparent. You will see a lot of other people out there who won't tell you what happened last week, probably because they're not exactly proud of what happened. Last week, Dan, you bested me by 1. You went 10-6, really good number. I went 9-7. That makes us exactly even through 2 weeks of the National Football League. We are 19-11-2.
Wow.
That's a 4-game positive per week clip. If we can keep that up, I think we'll make our listeners and viewers very happy. Let's do best and worst of what's going on in the National Football League. You want best, you want worst?
I'll take the worst.
What's going on? What's bad?
The worst are the injuries in week 2. Good grief, we lost some key players. I don't do fantasy football, but there's got to be some fantasy guys that are freaking out.
Scrambling.
Yeah, but between the injuries, it's unbelievable. You get the freak injury from Tyrod Taylor, from his doctor's misuse or however malpractice you want to call that. I mean, that's ridiculous. We lost a great running back. And then the defensive line of the 49ers.
Yeah, there's a lot of, not just injuries, a lot of star power injuries. You're talking about Saquon Barkley being out for the season. You're talking about Nick Bosa being out for the season. Christian McCaffrey's 4 to 6 weeks.
Yep.
The Broncos lost their starting quarterback, Drew Lock. They lost their best receiver, Cortland Sutton. And the list goes on and on. So that's a good choice for worst of what's going on.
And none of them have COVID, so.
Best of what's going on, the games are flowing so much better. The penalties are way down. You can see it as an avid football watcher. I saw a stat earlier this week, through 2 weeks of this season, the holding penalties, specifically the holding penalties, are down 70% from week 2 of last year. A staggering number. It's allowed the games to flow so much better. As long as I saw something where the head of the football officiating they determined they want to make sure they called the clear and obvious. But I don't think they're ticky-tacking things, and I think it's allowing the flow to go a lot better.
Yeah, nobody likes watching a drive with 4 penalties in a row.
No, absolutely not. So, I think that's it. You ready to get into this week's slate?
Yeah, some crazy games here.
All right, Thursday Night Football. Last week we had the Battle of the Buckeye State. This week we get the Sunshine State game. My in-laws' family, the Miami Dolphins, travel a few hours up north to play the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars are -3. The over-under on that game is 47.5. What do you think, my friend?
The line's so close with these two teams. The Jaguars are playing pretty good, so I got to go with them. They're the home team. I'm taking them.
I don't know if I should have called this the Battle of the Sunshine State or the Battle of the best NFL quarterback facial hair game.
Yeah.
Between Fitzpatrick, who I know you love, at least in the month of September, you stated.
Yep.
And then you got Minshew with his mustache. The Dolphins, they spent a ton of money in the offseason on their defense. I don't think it's really shown up yet. They haven't gotten a lot of dividends from it. One thing I would like to see the Dolphins do is add a package for Tua. I know Fitzpatrick's playing fine, but maybe you mix him in a couple of different series and things like that. As far as Jacksonville, we talked before in week 1 how we thought maybe they were tanking for Trevor Lawrence. They're not.
They're not. And Minshew's proved to be, I think, a viable quarterback in the NFL.
Sure.
I don't think they're in the quarterback market. Watching him in the first 2 weeks.
No, he's playing great. The Dolphins are a little desperate. They're 0-2 on the early season. The Jags are 1-1. Not only they have that, and I'm talking a lot about this opening game. The Jaguars jettisoned Leonard Fournette. I don't know if they viewed him as a problem in the locker room or what the situation is. They have an undrafted rookie running back out of Illinois State, ran for over 100 yards last week. So they're piecing this thing together, and they're successful. It's a toss-up game. I'm going to lay the points, though, too. I like the Jags. I like Minshew. He's playing great. Yeah. I'm going to go with the Jags -3 as well. All right, next game we have on the slate, the LA Rams travel to play the Buffalo Bills. These are two 2-0 teams. The Bills are minus 2.5. The over/under is 47.5. The Rams have picked on the NFC East early in the season. They beat Dallas opening week. They went to Philly last week, did it to them as well. Both these teams are playing really well. This is a tough game, a tough pick. I'll take the lead on this one and make the pick. I'm going to take the Rams. I'm going to tell you a stat here in a second why. I'm going to take the small line points with the Rams, and I'm going to go with them.
I'm going with the Rams. They look really good so far. Buffalo's look good. Josh Allen's playing well. I think the defense is going to be key here. I don't know about 47.5 in this game.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be under that, but I'm going with the Rams.
I saw a stat this week where the Rams, leading at halftime under Sean McVay, are 27-0.
Wow.
That means what that means to me is he's a damn good coach. There's always adjustments, in those 15 minutes in the locker room at halftime. He doesn't get out X'd and O'd. So I like McVay a lot. I like what the Rams are doing. I like their defense a little bit better in Buffalo. We're both on the Rams. Next game we have the Houston Texans. They go to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers are minus 4. The over-under in that game is 45. What are your thoughts, Dan?
Oh, I feel sorry for the Texans. I just do. I mean, the Chiefs, the Ravens. Now you got to go to Pittsburgh and play the Steelers.
Yeah, that's no picnic at all.
I mean, yeah. Houston's going to be 0-3 after this weekend. Unfortunately, I don't see them coming out of Pittsburgh with a win. I'm going with the Steelers again. They're
going to cover that number.
They're going to cover that number.
Okay. Yeah, the Steelers, the first week, that Monday night game they played against the Giants, they were the team I came away most impressed with. Last week, they played the Broncos. Drew Lock left the game. I don't think they particularly played well. Maybe take a little step back, but I mean, that's learning curve stuff. I don't believe in the Texans. The Texans, I picked them last week to stay in that game with Baltimore. They did not. They absolutely got smoked in that game as well. I'm going to lay the points too. We're in agreement again. I'm on the Steelers minus the 4. All right. 49ers, San Francisco 49ers, a decimated football team with injuries. Go to play the New York Giants. 49ers are 1-1. The Giants are 0-2. San Francisco is currently minus 4.5. The over-under on this game is 41. I'll tell you what. Last week, the 49ers, they went in and they played the Jets. You talked about the Texans having a tough schedule. Well, let's go the other way with San Francisco. They stay in New York. They get the Jets, and then they piggyback it with the Giants.
San Francisco in the Super Bowl. How'd they get this
no kidding. I don't know what the strength of schedule is with that. The 49ers, they went into last week's game against the Jets. They had no Kittle. They didn't have Richard Sherman. They had a ton of guys beat up. Then they lose Bosa. They lose Garoppolo during the game. They lost Mostert during. They whooped the Jets with like their JV team. They did. So I mean, they're a pretty good team. They're going to play the Giants. The Giants last week they played my team, the Chicago Bears. The Bears kind of dominated them in the first half. They were up 17-0. They came back. They let them back in the game. The Bears, my team, we'll talk about how inconsistent they are. But they lost Barkley as well. Who do you like in this game, Dan?
I am going to go with the Giants in this one. I think the 49ers, there's too much whining for me. Injuries are part of this game. Pull up your pants, play football. Don't tell me the turf is sticky. They've been using that turf all year long. Other teams have played there. So, come on, you're the only team that's complained about it. I think that's in their head. They're looking for excuses. These guys were away from their families. They didn't get to go home. They're staying somewhere in West Virginia. So I'm going with the Giants in this one.
I like the Giants as well. I thought for sure you were going to go the other way with this pick. Well, mainly because I don't think Garoppolo is going to play. It's still up in the air. It looks very doubtful that he plays. Their backup's Nick Mullins. Daniel Jones has played fairly well. I know they don't have Barkley. They signed Devontae Freeman, who's a proven back, I think most recently with the Atlanta Falcons. Giants are at home. I like the Giants too. I mean, the 49ers very well may win this game, but I think it's probably a field goal game. So I'm going to take the points with the Giants at 4.5 as well. Next game on the slate we're going to talk about is a great game, in my opinion at least. The Las Vegas Raiders, coming off a huge win on Monday night against a very good New Orleans Saints team, traveled to play the New England Patriots. Currently the line stands at New England minus 6.5. The over-under is 47. I watched the entire Monday night game. I came away thoroughly impressed with the Raiders.
They look good, and that running back, Josh Jacobs, man, he's a heck of a player.
And Derek,
heck of a back.
Yeah, and Derek Carr looked pretty good too. The defense came around in the second. They spotted the Saints the first 9 points of the game. They're up 9-0. And by the way, that unbelievable stadium, I loved it. Did you see the flame and the backdrop in Vegas?
It was very cool.
It was great.
It looked much cooler with fans in it, though.
Yeah, no kidding. The Raiders looked really good on Monday night. Well, and the Patriots, they went out to Seattle on Sunday night, and they played a whale of a game too. They were right there at the end. Frankly, they were at the 2-yard line, last play of the game, down by 5 with a chance to win the game.
Yeah.
So
you put that play on tape, come back with some play action. Cam can take a step forward, and he's going to have somebody wide open this week on the backside.
We could easily be talking about the Patriots being 2-0 and have beaten a very good Seahawks team. We're not. The line is Patriots minus 6.5. I'm going to go first. I'm going to take the points in the Raiders in this game. I think it's a very good game, a close game. I like the running game, as Dan mentioned earlier, that the Raiders bring to town, and Josh Jacobs. Could go either way. I think the number's too big for my liking. I'm going to take the Raiders in the 6.5.
Even though Brady's gone, I'm still taking the Patriots at home at Gillette Stadium. Raiders got to come across the country here in a short week. They were hyped up, new stadium. They're playing well, 2-0, but they got to go to Gillette. And
you've mentioned Gillette a couple of times. It's hard. I mean, the Patriots have been so good for so long. I mean, we all know that Belichick is a tremendous coach, and he's getting everything out of Cam. And Cam seems happy, and
he's having fun.
Yeah, and that's a big part of it. It really is. That's one of those intangible things that if a football team is having fun playing together, they have a tendency to be winning as well. So, next game up, Tennessee Titans go to Minnesota. The Titans are 2-0. The Vikings are 0-2. This game is Tennessee minus 2.5. The over/under is 47.5. I haven't been terribly impressed by either team. Tennessee a little bit more so impressed. They bring that running game with them. Minnesota hasn't quite put together anything on either side of the ball. It's desperation time though too. I mean, a team that goes 0-3 has a 2% chance of making the playoffs. So there's an expanded playoff situation this year where an extra team from the extra wild card team from AFC and NFC goes in. So there is 14 teams instead of 12. But the Titans are minus 2.5. I don't necessarily like it. I'm going to take the Vikings at home. Hopefully that guy blows that horn. Hopefully he's allowed in the stadium. I can't stand that thing. But anyway, I'm going to go with the Vikings. I'm going to take the measly 2.5 points. I think they're going to win the game.
I'm going with the Vikings as well. They're a better football team than 0-2, and I think this week they put it together and squeak one out here against the Titans.
All right, next game, the Washington football team come to your hometown Cleveland Browns to play them.
The Browns are on a roll, baby. I'll take them at home.
Both teams are 1-1. I don't recall the last time the Browns being minus 7 or a 7-point favorite in a game. They are minus 7. The over/under is 44. It's your team. Take it away. Tell us what's going to happen.
I'm taking the Browns. I think they're going to keep building from last Thursday's game against the Bengals. The running game was going. Show improvement. The offense needs to improve every week. We're not going to see Odell with all the catches that he's used to. We need him to make those big catches when we throw the ball to him, and I think that's going to happen. He's happy in Cleveland. All the national media can be quiet. We got some key pieces back on defense this week. We got 3 guys that came back. Not sure if they're all going to play. I'm hoping at least 2 of them do out of the 3. So I think our defense is going to be somewhat improved because, man, our pass defense is pretty scary. But
it can be. There's talent.
Washington, so I think we're good here this week. I'm going with the Browns.
Yeah, Washington won their opening game against Philadelphia. They had some confidence going out to Arizona. They got thumped pretty good out there. Cleveland, last Thursday night, they beat Cincinnati 35-30. The game probably wasn't as close as the final score indicated. Baker looked good, especially out of the pocket, but it's that running game.
Yeah.
They're going to kill people with that running game between Chubb and Hunt. If that team catches a lead, it's going to be hard to catch them because they're just going to run it down your throat. The number's big to me. I'm going to go with you. I'm going to lay the points. I'm going to lay the 7. It makes me a little bit nervous, but I'm going to lay the 7 with the Browns. All right, Cincinnati Bengals. They go and play the Philadelphia Eagles. Both of these teams are 0-2. Obviously, we all saw Cincinnati and Joe Burrow last week. We'll talk about him, and I came away thoroughly impressed. The Eagles are struggling on both sides of the ball. They are 6.5-point favorites against the Bengals. The over-under is 46.5. Burrow.
Burrow, he's the real deal.
100%. 100%.
Offensive line for that team, though, not good.
You know when I knew Burrow, he's got that it factor.
Yeah.
And besides him playing, it was, I think, midway through the first quarter or fairly early in the game, and it was third or whatever it was, and the play broke down. He ran up the middle. He got banged a little bit, but he got up and went like this. He's got the it factor.
Yeah.
You know he can play. If you're Mike Brown, owner of Cincinnati Bengals, please invest in an offensive line. Keep that guy up. He is going. I have all kinds of faith that guy's going to be a franchise quarterback.
They need to run the ball a little bit more. You got a heck of a back and Mixon. He threw 60-some passes against the
61
Browns?
passes. Yeah.
We got to hand the ball off a couple times.
Right, they did. They were behind the whole game, but yeah, that's a lot. That's a ton of throwing. The Eagles, Carson Wentz struggling. He's throwing 2 interceptions in both of the games he's played so far. They're -6.5. I'm going to take the lead on this. I'm going to take the Bengals in the points. I think the Eagles very well may pull this out. I think it's really close. I'm certainly going to take the points in this game now.
Yeah, this point spread's too big for me. I haven't seen enough out of the Eagles. Normally, if they were clicking, I'd take the Eagles at home on this one. But I'll tell you, Joe Burrow's going to get a win here coming up, and I don't know if it's this week, but I think they're going to cover that spread. I'm going with the Bengals as well.
Both of these teams, I mean, I know the Bengals aren't really used to winning. The Eagles certainly are. It's hard to see them dropping to 0-3. I mean, there's only 16 of these games, and I think that's what makes the National Football League so exciting to everyone, is that every game counts so much.
The Eagles are lucky there are no fans in the stands over there.
Right. Oh, they'd be throwing stuff at them. Yeah, for sure. All right, next game on the slate, my Chicago Football Bears. They travel to the Atlanta Falcons, play the Falcons. Both teams, or the Bears are 2-0. The Falcons are 0-2. They should not be. We'll talk about it in a second. The Falcons are favored by 3.5. The over-under is 47.5. I have a lot of thoughts on this game. I'm going to let my friend go first.
Hey, the Falcons to me are a train wreck. Their defense is bad. Their special teams might be the worst. I mean, hey, that was a fancy onside kick that was spinning around, but there were at least 3 Falcons standing there getting dizzy watching it and waiting for it to go to the Cowboys.
Maybe that's what happened.
I don't
know. Took an eternity for it to make it 10 yards. It's one of the most bizarre onside kicks. It's just sitting there spinning. We were texting because I know we were both watching the game.
Yeah, I don't know how you play this game from youth football to middle school to high school to college, and now you're in the NFL, and I don't know who was out there, but they're making more money than you and I combined, and they're just standing there watching the ball.
Awful.
Don't know the rules. I mean, come on. That's pathetic. It's poor coaching. I'm sick of seeing poor coaching. I see it youth level, high school level. I see poor coaching nonstop. But this game here, the spread, man. Matt Ryan, that's another one. If you got him on your fantasy team, he's scoring some points for you. But I don't know.
They've got points.
Whoever gave him the nickname Matty Ice, that guy, I don't know where he's at. But I don't. The nickname doesn't fit. It's never fit for me.
Who you like?
I'm gonna have to take the Falcons on this one, even though I just railed on them. 3.5 at home. They got to pull out a win, or some people are getting fired.
You switched. My friend told me earlier before we went live here. He's like, "You kidding me with that line? That's Bears." Anyway, he switched. We started talking about it a little bit. Obviously, his mind changed. Yeah, that was just an absolute debacle that Atlanta had.
Disaster.
With a less forgiving owner, Dan Quinn does not make the flight home as the head coach.
Doesn't that guy own Home Depot?
Yes, he does.
He's got some concrete. We could have taken care of them guys.
Yeah. Uh, I don't know if we're burying Dan Quitter while we're doing concrete right now. I hope we're not burying him. But
Maybe
anyway,
some shoes or something.
that's right. They have a lot of weapons on this Atlanta team. They're 0-2. They're desperate. My Chicago Bears they're 2-0. They've been very inconsistent as well. They had a great first half last week. They're up 17-0 on Giants. The Giants, the final score ended being 17-13 Bears. The Giants were inside the Bear 10-yard line at the end. The team,
2 weeks in a row.
shaves years off my life.
Yeah.
I mean, it comes down to the last play. Like it seems like every week. Mitch Trubisky has to be a little bit more consistent. I mean, the first week he was great in the fourth quarter, not so much in the first three. Last week he was great in the first half. So in the second half. One thing I'm a little disappointed in being a diehard Bear fan is the defense. I thought they were going to be a top 5 defense this year. They have not looked the part through the first couple of weeks. As much as it pains me with all the weapons that the Falcons have, with Julio and Ridley and that whole show they put on that turf, I think the Bears get beat this week. And I think I think it's a good game. I think through a few quarters, I think the Falcons get the best of them. As it does pain me, I'm going to lay the 3.5 with the Falcons as well. We agree. At this point, you have a very transparent podcast. I certainly picked against my team as much as, like I said, as it hurt me to do so. But, we're here for you guys, the viewers, the listeners. We're here to give you advice, and we're here to keep our pace up. So I don't feel good about it, but the Falcons minus 3.5 are both Dan and I's pick. That is the end of the 1 o'clock slate. We are on to the 4 p.m. Eastern games. The train wreck New York Jets 0-2 go play the Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts are an okay team. They're 1-1, but they're giving a huge number. They are giving 10.5 points to the Jets. This over-under is 44. One quick thing before we talk about things. We talked about Paris Campbell. Actually, I talked about Paris Hilton wrongly, and then Paris Campbell last week. Paris got hurt. He's a St. V guy. I know that stinks. I hate to see that for him. He seemed like he was kind of starting to blossom in year 2 a little bit. What do you think about this game, Dan?
That's a huge spread there. The Jets are awful, and man.
You want to know how awful they are? They gave up a 3rd and 31 last week.
I'm going with the Colts. I'm going with the Colts.
Any opening play from scrimmage?
Yeah,
Mostert ran like 75 yards and said, "I'm tired. I can't play the rest of the game." I don't know. I don't know why he got injured in the beginning of that game somehow. I don't think he played a whole lot of the way through
I'm
it.
taking the Colts. Phillip Rivers, he gets in a groove and they destroy the Jets.
Until the Jets prove to me that they don't belong in the AFL or some other XFL or something like that, I'm going with you. I'm gonna lay all of it. I don't like laying any points. I've said it ad nauseum probably to our listeners and viewers, but I'm gonna lay all of the points to 10.5 as well. Carolina Panthers, 0-2 Carolina Panthers. They travel to go play the 1-1 Chargers. The Chargers are -7. The over-under is 44. Last week, we got to see Justin Herbert play, and he wasn't prepared to play. I don't know. I'm glad he had his uniform on because I know he wasn't planning on playing. What happened, it got disclosed actually today. There was some sort of chest injury for Tyrod Taylor. What happens is he has a rib injury. The Chargers medical doctor injects him and punctures his lung. So he has to go to the hospital. He's definitely out this week. It's Herbert's team.
Yeah.
That guy's got, we'll get into legal ramifications some other time, but he's got a grievance against the league. I don't know if the medical doctor said, "Look, I don't think you're the best choice at quarterback. I'm going to take this decision in my own hands, Anthony Lynn." But anyway, Justin Herbert looked pretty good against a Chiefs team. They took him to overtime last week. I was really shocked about that. I certainly was as well. It's a pretty big number. Carolina is missing McCaffrey. Teddy Bridgewater plays quarterback there. Tough start for Matt Rule so far in the National Football League's coaching debut. What do you think on this game?
This is a hard one, but I think it's going to still be tough on Matt Rule traveling across the country, playing with the Chargers. That kid Herbert did look good playing quarterback, and you got a new coaching staff. I versus Anthony Lynn, a seasoned coach. I think he's going to set up his young quarterback to have success in his second start with some time to prep for it. So I'm taking the Chargers on this one.
I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to take the Carolina Panthers. Obviously, Herbert's very young. I think they probably devise a couple of schemes, maybe confuse him. Maybe they get a pick or something like that will keep them inside the number. I'm going to take the points at the Panthers take the 7 points. All right, the Detroit Lions, they go out to play the Arizona Cardinals. The Lions are 0-2. The Cardinals are 2-0. The line is Arizona minus 5.5. They're expecting a boat full of points in this game. The over/under is 54.5. You look like you're itching to talk. You want to talk?
That's a lot of points, 54.5.
It's a big number.
That's a lot.
But I don't think the other number is the 5.5. I'm certainly going to pick the Cardinals. I'm going to tell you why here in a second. The Detroit Lions, first 2 weeks of the season, they cannot close football games. They had a double-digit lead the first week against my Bears. They went out to Green Bay. They started kicking their tails. They were up 14 or 17 points in that game as well, I believe. They've blown double-digit leads in all these games. It's like they don't know how to they don't know how to close, or they don't know quite how to win. I don't know if that's a Matt Patricia problem, instilling this in them, or how to finish games. They haven't been able to. Earlier in the podcast, I told you the team in week 1 that I came away most impressed was the Steelers. In week 2, it was the Arizona Cardinals. They went out to San Francisco the previous week, and I'm like, let's see if they can do it again. They did. They just rolled. The game was not in question from the beginning with the Washington football team. I've been thoroughly impressed by Murray, Hopkins. Both sides of the ball. Both sides of the ball. I'm gonna lay the 5.5. I'm staying away from the over/under of 54.5. But I'm going to lay the 5.5 with the Arizona Cardinals.
I'm going to pick the Cardinals as well. I'm very disappointed in the Detroit Lions performance. Again, they've had leads in their first 2 games, and it's like they forget how to play football.
Not 3-point leads, not 4-point leads, not even 7-point leads. They had a 13-point lead against the Bears.
Yeah.
I think they had a 10-point lead actually against the Packers at one point in time. So
I'm going to go back to preparation. They had a short off season, and they decided once they could practice to take a couple days off.
you mentioned that. I don't think that has anything to do with that. That's a bunch of malarkey. But anyway,
I'm going with the Cardinals because I don't think Detroit's a real football team.
All right. My New England guy over here, he likes obviously the Patriots. He likes New England South. The Bucks 1-1. They go out to Denver. They play the Broncos. The Broncos, obviously, we talked about it earlier. They lost their starting quarterback this week. Jeff Driscoll got plugged into that Pittsburgh game last week for Denver and played admirably.
He looked all right.
He looked all right. Yeah, he looked all right. The Bucks are -6. Brady looked better last week. They haven't really gotten Gronkowski involved. Leonard Fournette got
any of the tight ends involved over there.
No, they got O.J. Howard. They got Cameron Brate. They have like an awesome stable of tight ends.
Yeah.
I like Arians. I think I like Arians because he's very upfront, transparent, frank, not afraid to say a damn thing.
Right.
I mean, he called out Brady the first week.
Yep.
Fournette had a touchdown, and they were chirping him, why didn't he get more carries? He says he doesn't know enough of the offense to play as much. So I get me. He's the coach, right? What do you think about this game? The Bucks are -6 at the Broncos. Over/under is 43.5.
You know what? I got to take Tampa Bay in this one because I know Tom Brady likes his football's a little deflated there, and I think that high altitude is going to have an effect on those balls. So I'm taking the Bucks.
We're not afraid to take pot shots on our podcast. All right, very good. We're in agreement on that one too. The Dallas Cowboys. They go out to play the Seattle Seahawks.
How about them Cowboys?
How about them?
Yeah.
They are very, very fortunate to be a 1-1 football team. We touched on it earlier. The Falcons gave it away. I hope speaking of that Falcon loss, I hope my brother-in-law Teddy didn't break anything inside his house.
No, he probably did.
Yes.
I would have.
Right. Cowboys 1-1. They go and play the Seahawks. The Seahawks, just barely escaped as well at 2-0 last week. We talked about Cam Newton being at the goal line, not being able to shove it in. The Seahawks are -4.5. 2 really talented rosters. What do you think in this game, Dan?
Seahawks, they're playing phenomenal. Russell Wilson's looking good. He's got great chemistry with DK Metcalf.
Lockett,
yeah. Dallas is they're lucky to win that game. I mean, come on, that's luck. They got some struggles going on there. New coach, they'll come around, but I don't see him beating the Seahawks at all.
It's a pretty sizable number to me. The Cowboys are a really, really talented football team.
Yeah, their offense is loaded.
There are. CeeDee Lamb continues to be involved. Elliott's running the ball there. I mean, Cooper and Gallup and the whole 9 yards of it. I struggle with this game. You saw me pause already. Originally, I was gonna follow you and go with the Seahawks minus 4. I've switched. I'm gonna take the points. I think it's a 3 or 4 point game. Possibly the Cowboys could win. I think they keep it under the 4.5. I'm gonna go with the Cowboys. That's the end of the 4 o'clock slate, Eastern Time. Sunday Night Football. The Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers go down to New Orleans. The Saints are minus 3.5. The Packers are a 2-0 football team. The Saints are 1-1, coming off somewhat of a disappointing performance out in Las Vegas. One of the things that's going to impact this game a lot is the receivers. I don't think Michael Thomas is going to play for the Saints. There's a chance that Devontae Adams isn't up for the Packers. I have a feeling he is going to play. He got like a hamstring issue. They seem to be playing it off as it's not that big a deal.
I thought I heard Michael Thomas was going to see a doctor that's actually a Green Bay team doctor to see if he could get cleared to play.
God, he might come back with an amputated leg.
I heard that in one of the Sunday games.
That sounds like a bad idea.
Sunday night, man, I don't know.
Anyway, yeah, I don't think of anything good about the Green Bay Packers. I don't care about medical doctors, any of them.
Yeah.
But what I know is a proven commodity is Aaron Rodgers. They got the running game going a little bit last week with Aaron Jones as well. The Packers seem to be, clicking. They put up, I think, 40 points in the first week, 38 in the second week. Obviously, the Saints are a good football team too. They may have not looked like it, at least in the second half of the game against the Raiders, but they can play on both sides of the ball as well. Saints are minus 3.5. I'm making some painful picks this week. I'm going to take the Packers. I think it's a field goal game. I think it could go either way. I think my better chances of picking a winner for you guys is to take the Packers and the 3 in the hook. I'm taking the 3.5 with the Packers.
This game's hard. If I knew what Michael Thomas was going to do, I think I would go with the Saints. But Aaron Rodgers is on fire, so I'm going with the Packers in this one.
All right, we are on to Monday Night Football, and I'm going to refer to this as the ask and you shall receive game.
Yeah.
And the reason why
Week 3 game. Unbelievable.
the reason why I say this is week 2, my buddy said, I'm picking the Chiefs unless the only team I'm not picking them against are the Ravens. And I didn't know it was on the schedule. Asking you shall receive. The Chiefs travel out to the Ravens, probably or potentially the 2 best football teams in the National Football League. Both teams are 2-0, of course. The Lions, the Ravens, minus 3.5. They're expecting a lot of points, 53. Both teams prolific offenses. You can't help but come away impressed with both teams. Everybody knows Mahomes and Allaire and Kelsey and Tyreek Hill. But on the other side, and we're just talking about the offensive side of the ball. You're talking about Lamar Jackson, and he could be running back, quarterback, and he throws the ball with such zip and pace.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable how it comes off his hand.
Yeah, standing in the pocket, throwing. The other thing with this game is both teams have great kickers.
Oh yeah, Tucker and
Great
Bucker,
kickers.
the best 2 in the National Football League.
Yeah,
Both these teams just stacked. I think the Ravens may be a little bit better on the defensive side of the ball. They both get nitpicky to death on offense with all their different weapons. Baltimore has Marquise Brown receiving the ball. They got that tandem of backs there with Mark Ingram and the rookie J.K. Dobbins, who looks good. You said it. Are you going to back it up? I'm going to pick the Chiefs on every game except unless they play.
I'm taking the Ravens on this one because I think the running game is going to be the difference. And I right now at this moment, I think the running game is slightly better for the Ravens. Ingram's there. I do like J.K. Dobbins out of Ohio State. He's impressed me so far. I look for him to have a decent game in this one. I think he's going to be pumped up, and I'm going with the Ravens, even though it pains me to say that. I can't stand the Ravens.
This is a transparent podcast.
And I can't stand the color purple.
You're going to get heartfelt advice, even though it goes against all of our grain,
Yeah. I'm going to have to wash my mouth out with soap now.
I'm going to
the Steelers and the Ravens.
You did. 2 days ago when I saw this, when I started preparing a little bit for our podcast, and I saw this game, like, holy cow. I know I'm going to call that the Ask We Shall Receive game. But at that time, I was going with the Ravens. I flip-flopped. I'm going to take the 3.5. I like the hook. I think the game could be a field goal game either way. The Chiefs are the defending champs, man. Until they're not, they are. So I think this game can go either way. It's going to be super entertaining. It doesn't end until like 11:30 or midnight here, which is a little bit unfortunate on a Monday night for me. But I have a feeling I'll stay up for this one. That is the entire slate. As promised last week, we are going to do a whiskey review. It's a peanut butter whiskey review. We'll be right back with it. Here we are, the peanut butter flavored whiskey review. We have two different flavors here, two different brands. We're going to talk about them for a second, some publicity. Somebody's going to win and get good pub. Somebody's going to lose and get bad pub, but I think all publicity is good. The first one is Ugly Dog Brewing Company. Peanut butter Kentucky bourbon whiskey. It is 70 proof. Where is the Ugly Dog Distillery from? Produced and bottled by Ugly Dog Distillery out of Chelsea, Michigan.
Michigan.
Where the hell is Chelsea, Michigan? You know where Chelsea is?
It's that state up north. So.
Keaton, look that up for us really quick. How about that? Speaking of that, you know, we'll do you guys a bonus college football game here every once in a while too. The SEC starts this week. The Big Ten, you know, we're talking about Michigan. Talk about, you know, we feel like the Buckeyes around our area as well. So that stuff is starting up. So we are looking forward to that, and we'll probably give you a bonus good college football game pick as well. In the other corner, we have Old Smoky out of Gatlinburg, Tennessee. It is 60 proof whiskey.
So without even tasting them, I can tell you which one's going to win. The one from Tennessee.
I know you're disdain for Michigan. I hope you pick Ugly Dog. Keaton, did we figure out where Chelsea, Michigan is from? Or where it's at in the state? All right, he doesn't have it. All right, pick one randomly. They're marked underneath. I don't know which is which. We'll take one, we'll cleanse our palate, take the other, and you decide which one you like the best.
Oh, it smells like peanut butter.
Whew. Warms the belly.
Need some ice cream.
Yeah. I'm a fan. There's one. We don't know which one's which. Oh, you ready for the other one? Did you at least clean your palate? Take a drink of your beer. You gotta change it. Otherwise you get them all mixed. Ready to go? Oh, all right. Still palate cleansing.
Cleaning my palate. I'm a beer drinker, so. Right.
He's ready. Yeah.
Here we go. Oh God, that first one. This tastes like freaking medicine.
Yeah, I'm clearly.
It's syrupy.
Oh, I didn't
This
like
is
that.
Michigan.
I
I
didn't
can
put,
tell you
boom,
that.
hold on. You done? You didn't drink it.
I don't want to drink it. It's disgusting.
All right, put it down. All right. This is my favorite. Which one? You like that one?
Yeah.
I have.
Well, I still had some.
I have the Old Smoky. He has. Old Smoky is your winner. The two O's.
Is that the Tennessee one?
Yeah,
Oh,
here's the U. We can't show you Dan's U because you didn't
Yeah.
drink it. Old Smoky is the winner. It's been a ton of fun, guys. Hopefully we pick some winners. I told you we were on that 4-game clip where we've been positive each week. We'll try to do it again. Those are great numbers. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week.